The Swiss-based mining company Glencore has said it will pay $180 million to the Democratic Republic of Congo to settle corruption claims. The agreement covers an 11-year period from 2007 to 2018. Glencore is also to pay other African countries for endemic bribery of African oil officials. But is it really enough? Welcome to the Sankofa Pan African series. Please support us through Patreon and by buying me coffee so we can continue to bring you the series. Don't just subscribe to this channel. Please also turn on your notification buttons so you know when we have new episodes. Share our videos with your contacts, and don't forget to check out our new website, sankofastorybooks.com, for history, Afrocentric stories, and other resources for our children. Now, the Democratic Republic of Congo is not the only country where Glencore, like other multinational companies, operates systems of highly corrosive corruption. Glencore bribed state-owned oil companies and government ministries across Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, and the Ivory Coast. They perfected a system to conceal bribes by labeling them as unspecified service fees, signing bonuses, success fees, all that. They had all kinds of jargons to disguise what they were doing to corrupt African officials. Glencore employees actually flew cash bribes to countries in Africa in private jets and used sham documents to hide the true purposes of cash bribes. And senior Glencore employees signed off on cash withdrawals used for the payoffs that they were paying to corrupt officials in different countries in Africa. Glencore has also admitted bribing officials in several African nations, including the Democratic Republic of Congo, to secure improper business advantages while while intending that a portion of the payments should be used as bribes. So it was well planned out and perfectly executed, their system of corruption. In August 2011 alone, two Glencore executives flew $800,000 in cash on a private jet from Switzerland to South Sudan. The very same year that the war-ravaged country gained its independence. The money was recorded as an expense needed to open an office in South Sudan, but the money was then paid via a local agent to officials in the newly established country. So, from the very beginning of that country, predatory multinationals like Glencore swooned in to set it up for failure. Bribery was so highly institutionalized within Glencore and accepted as part of its way of doing business in Africa that between 2012 and 2015, a Glencore trader and agent in Nigeria withdrew a total of $13.7 million in cash from Glencore's Swiss cash desk. The cash was then again flown on a private jet to Cameroon, where it was used to bribe officials in the country's national oil and gas companies. It is estimated that Glencore employees and its agents had given bribes of $27 million to unnamed officials in Nigeria, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Equatorial Guinea, and South Sudan, causing those countries to lose about 128 million at the time of the offenses. So, can you now imagine what the accrued interest on those losses would have been? Now, the company claims that it is now committed to operating transparently with openness and integrity at the forefront and has taken significant action on improving its ethics and compliance. However, the question begging an answer now is, has real justice been served by the paltry settlements which Glencore is now paying? And let's not forget that there were real flesh and blood human beings who are still raking billions from this ill-gotten wealth that they accrued through Glencore's dirty business in Africa. Let's take a quick look at the origin of Glencore and the people behind it, because some of them are still alive, enjoying their ill-gotten wealth. In 1983, Mark Rich, a commodities trader, fled the United States for Europe after being indicted for trading Iranian oil during the 1979 hostage crisis and evading $50 million in taxes. In Switzerland, he continued to operate Mark Rich and Company. And by 2001, when Bill Clinton decided to grant Mark Rich, for whatever reason, Bill Clinton decided to grant Mark Rich a presidential pardon on his last day in office as the president of the US. So by the time he granted this pardon, the company had been renamed Glencore International. Mark Rich died a free man and a billionaire in 2013, having acquired stupendous wealth through the company's tentacles that had been spread across different African countries. He had also laid a foundation, a solid foundation, for his corrupt company and the likes of Pincus Green, his longtime right-hand man, and others to follow. Other billionaires who have been part of Glencore include Ivan Glassenberg, Daniel Mate or Mate, it's spelled M-A-T-E, and Thor Peterson. All three of them only left Glencore within the last couple of years. So they were all there when all the corruption was going on. But neither they nor other billionaire executives of Glencore have been made to pay or even answer for Glencore's endemic corruption. Even though Glencore's dirty business could not have been carried out so successfully without the approval and knowledge of its top executives. This is in spite of the fact that Glencore has admitted that its traders bribe foreign officials to secure contracts and cargoes, and they also bribe bureaucrats to avoid audits, and they bribe judges to make lawsuits disappear. Yet they were all walking free. So, why is this judgment, which is compelling Glencore to pay fines for its corrupt practices, being celebrated? Well, They say it's a landmark one because it is the first conviction of a company on charges of authorizing bribery. Glencore has also received a series of other penalties for which a UK court has ordered it to pay as a result of African bribes linked to London-based Communities Trading Desk. But are these settlements really enough? Or just a tap on the wrist of a Glencore, which is still free to continue doing business in African countries in spite of the evidence, overwhelming evidence of bribery uncovered by various investigations into its activities in the DRC and other African countries between the 11-year period that I mentioned, 2007 to 2018. Also, the settlement of 180 million in fines is only a fraction of the gains that this company made in the DRC. It's the same with the other countries that they are trying to settle with. It's a ripoff because the settlement with the Congolese government, for instance, is allowed to cover all present and future claims arising from any alleged acts of corruption by the Glencore Group between the 11-year period. Meanwhile, Glencore continues to do big business in African countries and owns several assets, including the Mutanda copper cobalt mine and a controlling stake in KCC, a large copper cobalt project. Glencore's estimated earnings before interest and tax in the first half of the year 2022 alone reached $3.7 billion. So compare this to the paltry settlements of 180 million being made to the DRC. It doesn't make sense. So how has justice been served for the impoverished masses of the DRC and other African countries whose resources are paying for the lavish lifestyles of the people who made and are allowed to continue enjoying this wealth in the economic north? Thanks for watching. Please support us through Patreon and by buying me coffee. Subscribe and turn on your notification buttons. Share our videos. Keep your comments coming. Don't forget to check out our new website, sankofastorybooks.com, for history, Afrocentric stories, and other resources for our children.